So many websites will have Google Search Console set up, but not many people outside of SEO would typically go in there and have a look around. So what I'm going to do today is run through how to set up a free, quick and easy dashboard where you can have a very primitive view of Search Console right at your fingertips and present it back in an interface that I think is personally better for people who are outside of kind of SEO who just wants kind of a snapshot. So I'm going to work on creating a dashboard from scratch, walk you through the full process, and at the very end of the video I'm going to show you how you can literally take what we've built here today, copy and paste it, and then just basically switch your data in, so it's dead easy. So the first thing you need to do is go over to Looker Studio, which is lookerstudio.google.com. It's a free tool from Google. Just need a Google account. Once that's set up, you're pretty much good to go. So we're going to create a report, and this will basically give you a blank template to work from. First screen you'll see is this one, and we basically want to tell that we want to connect to Google Search Console. So I've typed search in, clicked on Search Console, going to find my website, and I want to look at this from a site keyword perspective and not a URL perspective. That'll be a bit clearer later why we want to do it that way. So we're going to click on site impressions, click on web, because obviously we want to see web queries, we want to see video, news or image. So I'm going to connect it, and it should give us a very generic template table with just some data in to show that it's actually being collected and passed through. So I'm going to delete that, don't need that for now. I'm going to do some aesthetic changes. So first thing is spruce up the name, .co.uk. Let's do SEO report. I'll do like Google Search Console just so I know the data source, but I'm working with it. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drop my logo in, make it look a little bit better. Drop that in. Okay. Just going to drop that at the top right because that's the client site or whoever. Next thing I want to do is draw a bit of a line to segment data. So the rule here is if you're using a Mac, obviously you can't get a straight line always, use Command and it'll lock it in to a straight line, or I think it's Alt or Control with a Windows computer. So I'm just going to drop that line in there, okay, and insert a date range. So basically with a report I want the ability to set the date. So I want to see last week, I might want to see this month, and so on. So insert, and then we'll go to date range control, drop that in there, and not going to manipulate that any more for now. We'll come back to it. Okay, so first thing we want to do is get a top level view. So I'm going to insert what's called scorecards, which is this one, and with the stuff to it, but you have two tabs here. You have setup and style. Setup is for the data, so what you want to present here. Style is how you want it to look. So just for now, I'm going to add a border shadow. I'm going to centralize it into that, and what I'm going to do as well is on the labels, basically going to change this over to a branded color, which is that particular blue. Okay, and happy with that. Obviously you can change the colors to however you like. I'm just going to copy and paste 4 of these because there's 4 bits of data that I want to see. Okay, and select them all, move them over. So a quick little rule of thumb with this is if you press shift, it'll be small movements. Without shift, it's like jumps about the screen all over the place. So I'm just going to pop them where I want them. Action reflection, I'm going to change the style so you can do this on mass. Black's much better. Perfect. So clicks, I want to see impressions. So click on the square that I want to change, move over to metric, add in impressions. That'll bring through the impressions. Clicks, I want to change again to click-through rate and change this over to average position. So that's basically a top level view of my site in Search Console, dragging the data over. And now I'm going to set up the date range. What I'd like to do is set up last month, just to see how we get on. Okay. So one of the things that can happen is the Google Search Console can take a little while to update. And if you look at today or maybe a few days before, there might be no data there. So you always try to do like a backwards view of perhaps at least 7 days, so you get a really good reflection of what's going on there. Okay, so what I want to see as well, I've got last month in there, and I would like to compare them. So I'm going to auto. The default date range is set as auto, so that means it'll listen to this. And then I want to compare the date range against the previous year, like that. Okay, so then we can see roughly how much the site's grown by, so 160% open clicks, impressions. Click-through rate's gone down 61%, and then the average position has gone up as well, 3.7%. So one thing you might know is average position, the lower the better. So when that gets higher, it usually means something bad. Usually, in regards to this particular site, it doesn't, because it's been a lot more keywords added. So what you want to identify that it's the wrong way around. Click on style. Green is actually red, and red is actually green. So we can see that it's actually gone up 3.7%. I'm just going to make that a lighter shade of red. So there we go. Perfect. So yeah, we can see that the click-through rate, red, month on month, so year on year. That gives us a really good snapshot into top-level performance. If you click on view at the top right, you'll see it how anyone outside of BuildNet will see it. So you can change the dates and it'll change the data. So far, it's pretty straightforward. Now what I want to do is create a table. There we go. Let's create a table, and within this table, what I want to show is branded performance. Okay. Line that up. Keyword performance. Make that a little bit bigger. Okay, and then for this one in particular, what I'm going to do is change that to the blue, so it's in line with the brand. And what's going to happen here is, there's a scroll bar, just run out of space. So you click on page, current page settings, style, change this to 1800, which doubles the size of the page. And another thing I want to do is actually use these scorecards. Okay. And just one thing to note, this is using Search Console data. It's not actually using analytics. So I'm just going to do this just to purely use it for purpose of Search Console. Okay. Just want to demarcate this particular section. Okay. Drop these down. Just kind of see where it's at. Okay. So in the table, what I want to see is just all the branded keywords. So I'm going to create a filter. I'm going to say SP, because that's my initials for creating it, and we'll put brand inclusion, because I want to include any query which contains Shane. Save. So we can see that 55 total. Okay, and then the data is wrong, so what I need to do is essentially change the dimension to query, which will bring all of the keywords with Shane, basically. Okay, so I want to see clicks, I want to see impressions, and I'm not going to bubble the average position just on this particular chart. Okay, so I made it slightly bigger, and then so I'll change that around, impressions and clicks, like that. And I also want to compare this. So at the very bottom, I want to compare, I want to go year on year, previous year, just to see how the branded traffic's changed. Okay, I'll just style that up slightly, make it look better. Just tap it in a bit. And what I want to do is get rid of the row numbers, like that. And I also want to sort it by height, low, and impressions. So the sort by impressions, there we've got high to low, and I've also got the comparison chart in there as well. Okay, So what you basically have is table, comparison data, table to comparison data, and the last thing we'll do is wrap the text around the body of the text. Okay. One thing you can do potentially, if you like, is you can run through these, and if there's any that you don't like or isn't branded, you can create a secondary filter that removes certain keywords, but just for the purpose of having like 1 or 2 impressions, just going to keep them in for now. Okay, and then the next thing I need to do is apply a filter for brand inclusion, because I just want these to show brand performance like this, and like that. Okay, so that's given us a snapshot of all the branded keyword performance over time. Now I'm going to switch it round, and I'm going to do copy all of these, but obviously we'll have enough room, so back to the page, and let's go 2,500. Paste these, and then the next thing I want to see is non-branded. And okay, going to create a new filter. Brand exclusion. So basically you want to try and mirror the logic you've used for the previous one, and you want to exclude it. So let's just put a name machine in, and then we need to get rid of the brand inclusion filter, which will basically give us the similar data and growth metrics. And then we want to revert these filters from inclusion to exclusion, and exclusion. Okay. So what you've got basically here is a really good snapshot on how your website performs on a macro level. You can even copy and paste these underneath and use analytics data in there. You've got branded keyword performance, non-branded keyword performance, and then there's a bit of space at the bottom here as well. So what you can do here is I'm going to insert another data source, and I'm going to go back to my site and URL. I'm going to go to URL this time because I want to see how they're performing on a URL basis. That'll drop in another blank generic table somewhere, hopefully. Oh no, it hasn't because it's not the first table. So again, I have to revert back to the page. Let's just do 3,500, so we've got plenty of space to work with. And I'm just going to copy the line and the text. Okay, let's drop it underneath. And just move that over and call it URL organic performance. Let's insert the table. But this time what we want to do is use the data source. As you can see here, we've got 2 types, and the one we've just added is the URL one. Okay, so I'm just going to change. That's got the query, sorry, and then on the second one we'll have the landing page. And we want to see URL clicks, URL impressions, like so. Compare that against previous year again. Okay. And that'll give us some performance year on year as well from a URL standpoint. So you can basically see the movers and shakers. And the first thing to obviously be aware of is this is just last month, and it is also year on year. But let's say if you wanted to create another view of this, what you can do is add a page. It'll bring up this little box here, and what I'm going to do is just rename this. It's dashboard because it's the main dashboard, and then I'm going to create a section. I'm going to call this section as reports, and I'm just going to delete these, duplicate this, and also duplicate it again. Okay, so what you should have is 2 duplicates, one master one, and a category here that you want to get the arrow pointing down. Drop these underneath, like so, and then rename them. I'm going to do weekly snapshot. Or you can do, week versus week snapshot, which isn't really good for SEO to be honest, but it's just for display monthly versus monthly snapshot. Okay, and one thing I always like to do is just basically add icons in there. So we've got a little home button, and then on the reports I'll create something relevant to reports. Analytics, perfect. Okay, so from a front end perspective, you've got the dashboard there, which is last month versus previous year, and we want to create a week on week snapshot. So back to edit, define the date range as, and this is where you might trip up a bit. If you do last week or last 7 days, you won't get a full snapshot of data because Search Console takes a little while. So I'll go to advanced, and I'll do today minus 14 days to start date, and I would do today minus 7 days. Change these to days and days. Okay, so basically it's a fortnight behind that 7 days as opposed to the previous 7 days because Google Search Console might not have fully populated by them. Okay, so that's what I want to do is get that period of that week snapshot and basically click on all of the data like so. Just make sure it's the scorecards and tables and not text that you're clicking on. And that table, we don't want to do a previous year, we'll do a previous period. Okay, so that's going to give the week on week snapshot of what clicks are doing, what impressions are doing, site click-through rate and average position. You can also do a scheduled delivery, so you basically get an email whenever you want it with a link, download it as a PDF, invite people to see it, all that kind of good stuff. That's the week on week one. Same again, I'm going to do monthly versus monthly. So if we do last month, which is absolutely fine, and then we just define the comparison chart as previous period as opposed to week. So year, previous year. Okay, it's previous period. So that's basically March versus April, hopefully, which it is. So month on month, we're up quite a decent amount. Again, scheduled send. So what you've got there is month, year on year. You can also add text in there as well to kind of summarize what the data is showing, but I'll essentially take all of that data from Search Console, present it back in a bit better of a format at your fingertips. You can schedule delivery and all that kind of stuff. So how do you get a copy of this? Dead easy. Basically, I'll give you the link in the description. Click on the 3 buttons, make a copy, and then it'll essentially ask for your access to your Search Console. Switch these out to yours. So that would be the site, that's the URL one, and that's the site one, sorry. And then it'll basically just take all the template, switch my logo out, and Bob's your uncle. Dead easy. You also get more creative with this, but it just gives you a bit better view of how Search Console currently works as well, as opposed to having to log in and then you've got to do 28 days versus 28 days or the custom date samples. This will just do it all for you. So hopefully you find it useful.